the Emancipation Proclamation. Those are a couple of really big words. Can anybody tell me what this event was? Emancipation Proclamation. It's a big one. Heather, go ahead.
Yes, I think it was when slavery was declared illegal and the slaves were released.
That's exactly right, Helder. So the Emancipation Proclamation freed the people who were slaves in the United States, and that was on January 1st, 1863. It didn't happen automatically, right? June 19th, 1865, almost a year and a half later, was when the last community of enslaved Americans in Texas learned of their freedom. So maybe you've heard of the American holiday called Juneteenth. Juneteenth, that happens June 19th every year. And then in December of that year was when the 13th Amendment was ratified. And it was this moment when it was officially, slavery was officially declared illegal in the United States, with the exception of as a punishment for a crime. So slavery is still legal in the US in jail or incarceration. The Vietnam War is also a really big event we need to talk about that had huge influence, especially on the tensions, the economic tensions. From 1961 to 1973, the US sent hundreds of thousands of soldiers to fight in an extremely controversial conflict. Can someone define controversial for me? What does controversial mean?
That cause different opinions in certain people, or that it could be interpreted as something bad for someone, but so it's for other is good, or is something they think is good, and that the way to achieve this could be by war or by violent means, as that person think that is the way to achieve that he or she thinks is good.
Excellent, Jose. That's exactly right. It was very debated, very
Yeah.
argued over. Excellent, Jose. There was also Project 100,000, which recruited soldiers from disadvantaged backgrounds with promises of success upon return. But that meant that a lot of Black Americans, because disadvantaged backgrounds generally meant poor people, and an unequal amount of Black Americans were poor or impoverished. So many Black Americans were sent to war, a very controversial war that many people didn't believe we should be fighting and had no purpose, and then came back to the US after being promised to be taken care of and was not taken care of, with no work and no social safety nets. Another big event we need to talk about is the assassination of Martin Luther King. Who is Martin Luther King Jr.? Who can tell me?
I know he was a person who fight for the rights from black people.
That's exactly right. Omar, do you have anything to add to that?
Well, only agree. No, only add to that statement that Jose doing that Martin Luther King was a what's the name? Well, he participated in the church. He was a
Priest.
Preacher. I don't know if it's correct. Preacher. Yes,
That's
he was
right,
a
preacher.
preacher.
Was minister.
Yes,
A
correct.
minister,
Was
right.
a minister, a preacher, and is famous for his one discourse during in Washington. The I have a dream.
Excellent, Omar. Very well done. Paola?
And I only remember for my bad story that he won a one Nobel Peace Prize.
That's right. That's right. He does have a Nobel Peace Prize award. That's correct. So, yes, he's a very beloved civil rights leader in the United States. You guys are excellent. You know everything you need to know about him. But in April, on April 4th, in 1968, Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated in Memphis, Tennessee. And right after he was assassinated, as he was a very beloved leader, there was the Holy Week uprising, which is when riots broke out in over 100 US cities. Okay, you can see a few of the photos here. This is a picket sign, picket line, new vocabulary. We love to see it. Thanks for the claps. Okay, so in light of a lot of these events, there was the Kerner Commission right after the riots. The US government they wanted to study why the tension was this high. And what they found in the Kerner Commission in 1967 here was pervasive discrimination. Pervasive means it spreads everywhere. You'll hear this often in medical terms, like a cancer, a pervasive cancer. It means it spread quick, it was aggressive. And discrimination, can someone define discrimination for me?
Yes,
Can explain.
discrimination.
Go, you Heather, don't worry.
Yeah, go ahead, Helder.
Okay. Discrimination is when you avoid someone because of their race, so you active make their situation worse just because of their race.
Excellent, excellent explanation, Helder. And this happens both on an individual, like one-to-one level, and it also happens systemically, meaning through the government or through systems that are in place, like employment, jobs, companies, education, housing, purchasing a house, renting an apartment. There were also serious problems with deteriorating city infrastructure. Deteriorating meaning falling apart. And infrastructure, the buildings and the roads and the sidewalks. Segregation was also very seriously occurring. There was legal segregation with the Jim Crow laws you might be familiar with. That's separating people based on race. And there was also de facto, not necessarily illegal, but not put in place by laws, segregation. That would happen with the power of society or people's actions. There's also extreme poverty, mostly because of the lack of employment and education. And because of the poverty, there were extreme problems of crime and addiction, especially in the cities where there was little safe infrastructure. So with all of this affecting society and people, there was a bitterness and resentment against society in general, especially white society, because it was white society that had caused this. And here are a couple of photos from the Holy Week uprising that happened right after Martin Luther King Jr.'s assassination. You see this protest in Harlem, New York. Harlem is a really, really famous neighborhood. Harlem, a lot of music, hip hop, soul music, jazz music came from Harlem. Watts neighborhood of Los Angeles. The Watts riot was a particularly influential one. Here's one in Newark, which is in New Jersey, that's close to New York City. And here's one in the Detroit riots. That's close to where I grew up, in Detroit. I have an excerpt here from an interview with Marvin Gaye about him writing the album that the second song was on. What's Going On? What's Going On was the title of the album. I wonder, Paola, would you be willing to read this paragraph for us?
Really. I remember I was listening to a tune of mine playing on the radio, Pretty Lady Baby, when the announcer interrupted the news about the What's Riot. My stomach got real tight and my heart started beating like crazy. I wanted to throw the radio down and burn all the songs I'd been singing and get out there with the rest of the brothers. I know they were going about it wrong. I know they weren't thinking, but understood anger that builds up over years, over centuries, and I felt myself exploding. Why didn't our music have anything to do with this? Wasn't music supposed to express feelings? I wondered myself, with the world exploding around me, how I'm supposed to keep singing loud songs.
Excellent, Paola. Really well done. Okay. Any questions about vocabulary here? And if there are no questions, tell me what do you think about this excerpt? Does this explain the change that happened from How Sweet It Is to What's Going On? What was he influenced by? Jose, why don't you go first?
Uh, I think that he felt sad because, as I understand, one of his songs were used in the protest, or so he thought that the music was used in a bad way and feel sad about it because he's like to sing love songs or songs for express emotion, and to hear that his song was used in a context where there is no love and there is no good emotion was something sad because he probably thought that the people use his songs as a way to express or to act in favor of violence and not to love or to unite. So that was something he didn't like uh, because his song is for positive emotion and not for use in negative situation like protest or violence.
Paula, go ahead.
Yes, I like that this relation between the reality, the social situation, and I like to the way that he used the music or listen the singing for yes, try to keep the calm in this moment, no, because around there is a critical reality, but they know that if you try to thinking in a good way, listen to music, start thinking of other things, the problem maybe will be more less, less, sorry. Yes, I like it because in this part or in any situation, or for example, in my case, when I feel very sad or very frustrated, or I have some problems, I like to listen music because I consider it's a good therapy. No for the deep the problems, so I don't know, but it's a good way. Maybe in my case, when I listen music, the music helped me that soul more relaxed and try to think with more calm about this situation. And in this case, it's exactly this relation in the reality. Okay, using the music, thinking in other things, because it's the reality that I'm here in this situation.
Great, Paula. That's right. So we see this contrast, right? Pretty Little Baby, the love songs, being interrupted with news about the riots, right? Soul is about sharing our emotions. It's sharing our feelings, sharing our soul. And that can be love sometimes. But sometimes the world is exploding around us, right? Marvin says, I understand anger that builds up over years, right? Let's listen to one more song. This song is also on What's Going On, the album from 1971. And this one's called Inner City Blues. We'll watch this and have a final discussion. Omar, I'd like you to start this conversation. Tell me, what did you observe? What did you enjoy? Tell me your opinions about soul music.
Well, the music is so great, the rhythm and the the use of the voices for me is so great. But this song, I think, is more later that the second we heard. So Marvin continued with his point of view about the society, about the human rights, about the importance of the black people. No, so well, that's the point of view of Marvin. Is I am agree with some of the topics that they song that they sing in the song, but yeah, we say that it's a good musician, it's a good writer, and I have a point of view about the things that did see in the society.
Excellent, Omar. Really well said. Paola, you go ahead.
Okay, I try to put in order my ideas, but the first part is, I try to relation the song with your past slide presentation because I be honest, I Google what is poverty. It's related with their song because poverty is when the people in this moment, the people or now, the people don't have money or enough money to meet or to buy the basic needs, including food, pay the service, pay the house. I don't know. In this video, one part and one man, I suppose review the receipt, all the things that he needed pay in this moment. And the other part of the song I like because in the music included many drums, so these kind of instruments, that try to relax this kind of drums or percussions, that maybe try to feel in more relaxed. And I like that this sentence make me wanna holler, and I obviously I look with holler, and I like this expression.
Absolutely.
But nice because it's normal, you say all the time when you have the problems, you maybe feel this sentence, make me wanna holler, no? And
Absolutely.
sometimes the people needed to say inlet, inner body, to just express your feelings. But in this case, the people using this song for express here, make me wanna holler. Perfect.
It's a good one. It's a bit old. Holler means to yell.
Holler.
Hell, if you were to say it now instead of 1971, you would say, it makes me want to scream. Oh, it makes me want to scream. I'm so mad.
I declare, this is my new word, holler. It's a strange word. Maybe anybody understand when I say holler?
Definitely. Or holler at you. Holler at you to mean I'll say hi. I'll holler at you. Or it could also mean to flirt. I'm going to holler at you.
Yes. I have learned a lot.
Excellent. Good to hear, Paula. Thanks so much. Jose, what are your final opinions?
Okay. I saw the video is again in black and white. All the video. I thought it is a way to show that there is a bad situation, a sad moment, because there are people suffering. I saw a man with one leg. So this, I suppose there was a war and people is just trying to move on from that moment. Also, associate the smoking and the haircut, or probably with something about rebellion. I mean, they
Mm.
want to express they are against the law or against the rules that in this moment are happening. So for young man, the way to show that opposite side of the society is smoking, and the man with the haircut is also to say we don't have to be equal to the other people. We want to show something different, express something different. So we are against the system or against that is causing to the society be poor. And also I saw uh, dichotomy because, for example, I saw two children jumping in a, I don't know how do you say this word, jumping in a uh, well, they were jumping in something that was left behind um, in the war in the house. So I thought it was also to show a positive or a brief happy moment in that situation, as the young people or children probably they suffer, but as they don't have many responsibilities, they thought that that moment or that places that were devastated could be a place where they can enjoy or they can play. So it's also a way to show that even in a bad situation or even in sad moments, we can try to be or try to show happiness, but no forgetting that we are in a bad context, and try to remind that it depends on us how to we could advance of that situation if we want to stay and feel sad, or if we want to express uh, other ways to continue, probably with the music, with the rebellious, or with showing happiness in sadness.
Mm. Really well done, Jose. I want to comment on two things that you brought up. One, the hair. I'm really glad you brought up hair. Hair is really, really important, actually, in that in Black Americans' history, many people were forced to either shave their hair or in the 1900s to chemically straighten their hair or to make it look more acceptable, and by acceptable meaning to look more like white people's hair. So, in the rise of Black civil rights and Black power, a symbol that often cropped up was the afro. When somebody takes their naturally curly hair and picks it out so that it forms a big sphere of hair on the top of their head, maybe you've seen it. It was very popular in the 70s because it was a sign of revolution, of protest, of this is my hair and I will wear it as big as I want to. right? So I think that's very interesting. The other thing I wanted to talk about was I saw Helder's eyebrows go up to here when you said dichotomy. It's a great word though, so I wanted to send it in the chat. Dichotomy. It means two things that are put next to each other to show the difference.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well done. Helder, would you like to finish our discussion? I'd love to hear any last thoughts you have.
Oh, I think I can't talk Jose because he said everything. I just was surprised that this song was from the same album from What's Going On, because this song is adding gasoline on the fire, and just it was a surprise. And
Yeah.
I can see when he I can totally agree when he said before on that quote that uh, what happened, uh, what oh, I forgot the exact words, but what bad was happening over years with the black uh, people in the United States. It is accumulating, and he says, for over years and over centuries, and slavery uh, lasted more than 350 years. And it's crazy because it's just like a hundred years from the that act, and well, of course, things uh, needed to be rebuilt and fixed, and his songs emerges in this situation.
Mm. Mm. We can learn so much about our present by studying our history, right? That's my
Yes,
belief, at least.
we are just 150 years, no, maybe a little more, 107 years after that act in 1863. So
Mm.
it's like yesterday. A lot of things need to be done in the path of equality.
Well, thank you all for such a great conversation. I'm here if you have any last questions, but that's the end of class. We actually ran pretty late. Sorry about that, but I'm glad you stayed to do some extra practice. I hope you have
Thank
a
you, Maria.
great day. We have another class in an hour and 50 minutes, almost 2 hours
Yes.
at 6 o'clock for me. And Paola needs some people to chat with, so come
Yes,
through.
I see you.
Wonderful. All right, I'll see you
Okay.
later.
See you
Bye,
later.
everyone.
Bye bye.
Thank you, teacher.
Thank you.
Thank you.